That Monday, I forgot. Then Anthony tells me off. Actually, I'm putting the meditations in the morning. It's on my YouTube channel now because I didn't know how to put it on the YouTube from the center, but we're gonna soon put it on the YouTube of the center as well. So then we have almost 8 weeks of meditation already. That's very good. There's a lot of a lot of material there, for people to, and we are putting the week, the topic, the page on the book that we are using. So that's good because then people can use it. I think that is nice. That is a good idea to do it. Okay. So let's do it. Let's continue our path until enlightenment, our Lamrim meditations. So these, what ladies, this is your first time coming on this meditation. So what we are doing is that we are meditating on the different topics of the Lamrim. I divided exactly the amount of times. Mondays and Wednesdays we have classes, and we are doing each of the meditation. So it's like from, kind of like precious human rebirth and analyze or the mind. We started with the mind, right? Continuity of the mind, how it is the mind. And then we went to precious human rebirth. And then we understood karma and then the affliction. And then, we are kind of like understanding coming up. And now we are in the juicy part, bodhicitta. In the nice, soft, fluffy part. Bodhicitta, compassion, and all of these aspects that is very nice. So that's a good part. It's not easy because we think that, but when we think about bodhicitta, we think about, oh yes, oh, benefiting everybody, but it's very hard to think about others, right? To come out, make that effort to think about others. For some other people, it's a little bit easier, some aspects of it, people that have generated that. Even kids, sometimes you see kids very young age already saying, oh yes, mom, don't kill the mosquito, don't kill the ant. You have these little videos now. My mom is the best to send me these little things. She finds, I don't know how, and then she sends to me, and she said, look at this kid, like say that he doesn't want to kill ants or something like that. And it's true. And this is because of the habituation of the mind, right? Of course, most people don't think like that, don't don't think it is. But the explanation in the Buddhist context, yes, definitely comes from previous lives of habituating the mind of not creating suffering, right? So that's very special because then it makes us believe that, if I do it in this life, then next life is going to be easier as well. That's how our teachers as well, they show the aspect when they are born. The Dalai Lama. Have you ever watched the movie Kundun? Kundun, yes, with Scorsese, I think Martin Scorsese, or 7 Years in Tibet as well. That you all watch it because of Brad Pitt. I have a friend that she's a nun, and she said, what brought me to Buddhism was Brad Pitt. And I said, what? And she said, because of 7 Years in Tibet. I just wanted to watch the whatever movie he was in, and I watched it and I got hooked because of the story, and I wanted to learn more about Buddhism, and she became a nun. So karma, you don't know, you never know what happens. So it says over there a little bit about His Holiness kind of like growing up and how he was like learning, but his learning was much faster in some ways because he already had, got used to in his mind to some of those texts and the teachings and the way. So it was easier. It was much easier. It would come to him very easy. I see that a lot when some people that want to learn Tibetan, for example. Some people they learn Tibetan for like 6 months, 1 year, and they are like really, really good at it. Some people like me, they can study for so many years and nothing happens. Nothing goes like like this, nothing. So that's very interesting to see. So that gives us hope and encouragement that if we do these meditations, if we actually kind of like make our minds more and more moistured, nourished with this compassion, love, kindness, equanimity, joy, And that means that not only in this life we're going to be able to get this, but next life, is going to become easier. And that is nice. That is quite nice to have that idea. So today we're going to do, so last time we did what we call a meditation called equalizing self and others. So we were equalizing the idea. Remember that we talked about that all sentient beings want to be happy just like us. So we really went into the feeling of I want to be happy and I don't want to suffer, because I need to really get in touch with that aspect of me and acknowledge that, oh yeah, that's what I want. And from there we can actually expand that to others, see that there's no difference whatsoever. And in some ways it is the what we call self-love. It is the understanding that we want to be happy and we don't want to suffer. And whatever we are doing to get that, it's either going to bring us this happiness or suffering. So we need to have the knowledge or the understanding what to choose. Otherwise, we're not going to get what we want. We're not going to get. So today we're gonna do the opposite of the meditation what we had. We had equalizing, which means understanding that. Now we're gonna see that because we want to be happy and not suffer, the way we have been doing nowadays is by thinking about ourselves and ourselves only. My happiness, my this, my that. Oh, I want to do this, I want that for me, 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 me. So we're gonna talk about the disadvantages of self-cherishing. We need to be careful here because this the self in itself is not bad, right? We are not bad people by nature, and we need to kind of like get this idea of Christian guilt because of the things that we have done wrongly. No, we need to understand the habitual part of the mind and say, oh, I was mistaken. It was a misunderstanding from my point of view. And then from this misunderstanding, I can change. I can actually make a change. I can make a transformation and not beat ourselves up and say, oh no, I'm a bad person. No, I'm not going to do it. I did it wrong. I'm a horrible. And it just brings us down. So we need to be careful when we talk about the disadvantages of self-cherishing. It's not that disadvantages of thinking about ourselves sometimes. No, thinking about ourselves and deciding to make choices in between sometimes ourselves and others, that we know that we make choices. For example, I made a decision to become a monk, and I know that some people didn't were not completely okay with that decision, right? People in my family, maybe, or around me, even though they're very, very supportive and respectful and incredibly kind and generous to me. However, I know that maybe deep down they might they might not completely agree with my choice, but they respect. And that is very beautiful in a way because that's the way that they think. But from my point of view, I know that these decisions created a much better um, conditions for me to work on myself and open my heart and benefit others. So in this way, this decision, even though it can look like selfish from one side, there is a benefit on that. So the self-cherishing that we are talking about here, it's really the self-centered attitude that clouds our 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 natural intention of wanting to help others. Because that's what we are. We are social beings. We cannot negate that. We need each other's. We need this exchange. We need to be able to kind of like experience love, kindness, compassion. It's in a way innate to us, right? So that wish that we have to wanting to be happy, it's already a kind of love and kindness. The problem is that we think that this wish it's only about me. That is the wrong view. That is the self-cherishing. I want to be happy and I need to be happy and only me needs to be happy. But we fail to see that others have the same. So actually we are equal. So it's the same thing. So my happiness, your happiness, same, same. So that is the counter mind of the self-cherishing. My happiness, your happiness, same. Not my happiness more important than yours. Because that's what how we act nowadays. We act with this idea that we are the center of the universe. And only our happiness is what counts, and we should just take care of ourselves and my friends and my family and that small little group, and the rest that explodes themselves. So that's what we're going to meditate, because understanding that, following that mindset actually don't give us the happiness that we want, gives the opposite, creates suffering. Because the more we think about ourselves, the more we become an island, the more we isolate ourselves, the more we actually struggle with others, right? The more we create a barrier, the more we create distance. When we are social beings, we want to be together, we want to have community, right? So that is the, but we need to understand, we need to really acknowledge that this state of self-cherishing is not good, because we have been ingrained to think like that again and again and again, habituated. Even though I think, like for example, all of us here that are here now, in some ways we already understand a little bit that, because we know we've been here, well, we listen to these things, and that in some ways what all the religions in the world, they talk about the same. It is the same. That part I feel that is exactly the same. Like, Jesus, the Bible used to say, like, treat your neighbor like you would like to be treated, or something like that, right? Love your neighbor. Exactly, right? It's exactly the same. Exactly the same thing. Islam, exactly the same, has beautiful teachings on that as well. Jewish, exactly the same. Think about others, helping others. Don't think only about yourself, think about the other person. So that is very um, common. It's a common ground from all religions. So that I feel that it's important, but we need to cultivate that mindset, that awareness. That is why meditation is called familiarization. It's called cultivation in some ways. We are familiarizing ourselves with that in some ways we know, but again and 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 again. And then we come back again and then we go again. Because we need to remember and to remind ourselves again and again of that. So the moment that we see that we are just thinking about ourselves, when we are in a supermarket full, and then oh, I just go and I try to get, the best place, the best this, the best that. I watched it when was that? A long time ago. It was a movie. No, not a movie. I think it was kind of like a documentary that was talking about mass consumption, and about the uh, that thing that is Black Friday, I think is it called? Yeah, Black Friday is like, and they were showing kind of like people like fighting and like like going running into these magazines and like mine, 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 mine. It's like this is the extreme of the self-cherishing, right? It's only about me, and even that I'm like, kind of like fighting with someone about them. It's just, to think about it, is a bit bizarre, no? It's like scary. It's like, wow, people could go so low for something so material. I don't know. I thought I was a bit impressed. Maybe it's just me naive, but I was a bit impressed. But that is a perfect example of the extreme of self-cherishing. That I just wanted for myself something that I think is gonna bring me happiness, and I'm gonna do whatever I needed to do to get that. Wow, scary, right? But we do that in certain levels. We don't get maybe onto that level, but we do that in certain levels throughout our days, throughout our lives. So that's what we need to kind of like try to reflect on the experiences of our lives. Try to check when we were selfish. So the more we recognize, the more we meditate, easier it is when it comes. It's like learning how to use something. If we don't learn before, the moment that we need to use it, we don't know, right? So it's like that. So we kind of like a learning here, meditating, listen to blah, 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 blah. And then, it becomes easier, easier. And then the moment it comes, you're like, ah, I know what to do here, you know? And then you become more and more into, oh, I know I can do this. Oh, I can also do that. I can also do this. We have two. I always say Buddhism is a toolbox. It gives you a toolbox and say, go and use it. Whatever you do, wherever you are, use it. But you need to remind yourself to use it. So that's why we do these meditations, to remind ourselves, to kind of like keep it fresh in the mind. Because then if we learned long time ago and then you stop it and then you didn't do, then it becomes difficult. It's harder. It's like, it's like when you I was just talking to a friend today, we were talking about like writing with the right hand. It's so much easier if you are a right hand person, right? And then you do with the left and it's like yes, no, you totally. But you start doing again and 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 again, it becomes easier. So it's possible to use both hands, in the same way, the same quality. That is the same with the mind. Right now, the right hand symbolizes our negative tendencies. It's easy, automatic, you don't need to even see it. You just kind of like write like this, or people that can type the. But with the left, is like our good qualities. We just need to kind of like, it's, we need to put a bit more of effort, then it can become automatic as well. That is what we want. That's what we really want. And the self-cherishing attitude, it's our status quo. It's who we are right now. And there's nothing to judge and to beat ourselves up because of that. Wow, I'm recognizing this. I'm recognizing that my tendency is to first think about myself. First think about me. First is about like, okay, what do I get in this? Right? What is my kind of like um what am I getting out of it? No? Oh, we need to go and do this and that. Okay, but what am I getting from this? So then we need to start checking. Oh yeah. No, no, no. I just want to do it from my heart. I just want to do it from this. Check. I always say, if you can make, we did that in meditation in the mornings. I said, if you can try to find yourself cherishing in everything you're doing, it's the best thing. Don't judge, don't change. Just check that is there. And then with time, you check, did it actually work what I wanted? Did it give me what my self-cherishing was going to say that it was going to give? Because the self-cherishing is that the kind of like the manipulator behind cheat on us, saying, if you do this, you're gonna get that. You know, is the kind of like seducing. No, 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 you come here. No, you do that. You think only about you and it's going to be fine. No, leave others. Just do about you. And when we do the opposite, when we open our hearts and we do something for others, and when we help others, and when we think about others, we get exactly what our self cherishing was telling us. You got exactly that. You become kinder, warmer, and like more spacious, right? There's not that tightness in the heart sometimes because we're just thinking about us. So that is what is very important for us to recognize and to understand how it, it how it is expressed in ourselves. And that's why it's good to check the body. I always do, check the body, how it is. Go back to the body and see if there is some sort of tightness, you know, when you're being selfish, when you're thinking about yourself, when someone is wanting you want something in a certain way and you're just tight in that mindset, and someone says something different and you, right? Check, check how it feels. How the even the mind, the head, facial expressions. I remember how many percent it says, but it's like facial expressions says that like communicates a lot. There's a study, a beautiful study from El Evan, what is her name? It's actually a mother, a father and a daughter, and they did an it's kind of like atlas um
Ekman.
Ekman, no? Yes. Eva, I think it's Eva Ekman.
Yeah.
And they did like kind of like about the different emotions, and especially also related with kind of like expressions and body parts and things like that. That was, I think, another different part, but they combined that. So nice. Thank you, Nana. You always on the go on the Google there. Just Google it. You can be my Google finder. and it's so special, so special, because you see how, wow, we create so many of these emotions and we express them in our bodies in so many ways. So it's like maybe it's easier for someone, another person that knows us, because they know how we feel, but we don't see ourselves so much, you know. But it's almost like we are trying to put a mirror in front of ourselves and try to see ourselves and try to check ourselves. There's a beautiful meditation about that as well, about self-love and self-compassion. Say, I want to be happy, and you try to see yourself, and you kind of like repeat that again and again and again until you believe, you try to start to believe in that. It's very, very special as well. So that is what self-cherishing can like does. Self-cherishing harm us, cheat on us, give us the opposite. We want these and we go there. You know, we get the opposite of it. So we need to start doubting our self-cherishing mind, doubting it. So we can, with time, this is the good type of doubt, as I say, you know. Well, the teachings also say that we have different types of doubt, but that's the good type of doubt. A doubt that makes us, oh, okay, this is not really like my self-cherishing has been telling me. So let me just push aside a little bit and let me try to do it in a certain different way and check how it would be. Okay, so that's what we're gonna try to do this today, like our self-centeredness, and really realize how it is our enemy instead of our friend, as it shows to us. You know, how it is our kind of like how we can let it go of it more and more if we understand. So let's meditate. Let's sit down, find a comfortable posture. We just check our body, making sure we have a back as straight as possible, not tense, but at least straight, making sure no pressure in our shoulders, neck. The eyes can be completely closed or slightly open to get some light coming in. And now we can check our mind, check a bit how we are feeling right here and right now. There's also any tension in it. And from that we can reinforce our motivation for doing this practice, thinking that if we understand, if we recognize, and if we acknowledge the disadvantages of following our self-cherishing attitude, not only we are able to feel more peace and quietness and happiness for ourselves, but especially we will think and have more space and prioritize the happiness of others as well. Therefore, others will also achieve happiness. So with that motivation, we can start bringing our attention to our breath for a few minutes. Just paying attention, bringing our attention again and again to the subtle sensations of the air coming in and out at our nostrils. Don't forget to be be attentive to everything that is happening in your mind, becoming vigilant If you are turning away your attention from the breath, notice. Don't judge, don't beat yourself up, and slowly bring the attention back to the breath. Now that we have focused and concentrated our minds a bit better, that we're able to not only relax but focus the attention, this helps us to be able to investigate the disadvantages of our selfish, self-centered attitude. So we let it go of the breath, and we can use this analysis to help us investigate from different viewpoints the disadvantages of our selfish mind. So whenever we are doing whatever we are doing in our daily lives, it becomes easier to apply some of these ways of thinking, these points of view, perceptions that will bring us more peace and happiness. And we can start by analyzing and understanding that This selfish attitude is not one with our true nature of being social beings, of being nature, our nature that thinks and needs others. So, in some ways, this sense of self centeredness and only thinking about ourselves, it's against our natural way of being. Check if you can understand or agree with that. How does it feel to you? Not only this, if it is not one with our mind, with our pure nature, that means we can eliminate it. We can stop feeding it and giving attention to it. So we're going to try to reflect on some experiences in our lives and try to see how a self-centered attitude has created us a lot of suffering and harm. So we can start by thinking about a situation in our lives where we act in a very selfish way and we later regret it and created problems for ourselves later. Try to remember how you felt after you regretted and how you felt when you realized that you were selfish. Maybe you got embarrassed of yourself. You even felt guilty. And we can see how our self-centeredness makes us act in ways that harm others as well. So you just think about it, an example in your life recently or in the past that you act in a very selfish way and you created quite a lot of harm to others. Don't try to think who started or didn't started anything, but your actions. and your motivation to think about you only, how that created the suffering for others. Now think about it. A moment where you were selfish and that created disharmony or a conflict, maybe with someone in your family, maybe at work, or you were able to experience how this created not only maybe your selfish or selfishness of others created a problem in a group, in a community, even in a country. When people just thought about themselves, their needs, and forgot about others. Check if you can relate or find an example of that. And if we observe, even if we get what our self-cherishing wants, then we start to become afraid we're going to lose it. We start to be worried that it might finish or go away or break it or leave us. So whatever our self-cherishing created as a need and we so desperately want it, once we get it, it doesn't end. We don't become satisfied because we start to feel fear, fear of losing it, breaking it, them leaving us. We can conclude by understanding and acknowledging, realizing that is the self-cherishing, this selfish attitude that don't allow us to open our hearts, that don't allow us to progress on our spiritual path. Is actually this attitude is actually our worst enemy, our one and only enemy. And we should make a strong determination to abandon it, to let it go, to not follow it. And by doing so, we are able to truly engage with this natural essence of ourselves, this essence full of love, compassion, joy, kindness. And by taking the self-cherishing attitude out, all the conditions that don't allow us to feel it, to experience, express these incredible qualities towards all, completely taken away. And it flows naturally from our heart, all of these qualities. So we become not only happy, peaceful, joyful, but then we are really able to help others to do the same. Our minds, our lives become meaningful because there's only the wish to help others and to cherish others. So with this conclusion, we can dedicate that all of these efforts that we have done by listening, contemplating, and meditating on this self-cherishing attitude, on these advantages, on understanding the faults and how it makes us suffer. We dedicate that we are able to let it go, to eliminate of our minds more and more. And from there, that we are able to help others to do the same with themselves. And this is our contribution for a more loving, peaceful, and kind world. We dedicate like that. Hmm. So, what is how was it?
Good.
Why? Why was good?
Well, for myself, I was doing some evaluation of myself
Mm.
in the respect of, cherishing others and cherishing self and um also the meditation part of it, making that imprint is very helpful too.
Mm. Yes. Do you think, do you guys can, when I say like, oh, try to remember something in your life or something like this, is it easy? Is it hard sometimes?
It's easy for
Yeah.
I can recall things, and it's painful. It's easy, it's painful. It creates guilt, which is not good, but it brings up those things that I feel I regret, and puts me in touch with that self who I was at that time, who I'm
Yes.
not now.
Yeah.
Uh, the pain that I have caused others as well as myself.
Yes.
So it's not difficult for me to go there.
Okay,
They
good.
just,
Mhm.
especially some that were more, that have more
Yeah.
weight, more gravitas.
Yes. More juice. It is true. I think that when we start to meditate, sometimes this is what you're describing is the good and the bad part. Because it is the good part, because then sometimes we've been waiting for having that opportunity to go through some things, right? Especially because now we have some tools. We feel a little bit more empowered to go through some painful situations, right? But at the same time, sometimes can be an obstacle because the mind might create certain aversion. That's why it's so hard for people to sit down and meditate, because they know that they're going to have to encounter or to deal with some aspects of them. It's just so much easier to avoid, right? It's just so much easier to continue just doing what we are doing. That I feel it is the biggest obstacle for actually sitting down and meditating. It's not because of time, it's not because of knowledge, it's not because of anything of that. It's that. Is that difficulty of presenting ourselves with, not presenting, staying with ourselves, right? Being in the presence of ourselves and having to deal with ourselves. Because that is the thing about meditation. When I went to do one of my first retreats, I remember that experience of, because you go and you don't have anything, you just have your books and your practices, and you are, in a place isolated, don't have communication. And you think, well, this, like, it doesn't mean to be like that, but I did a retreat like that, and I said, it's only me with myself, right? It's just like, I don't have anything to blame. I don't have anyone to put the blame on. Of course, the mind will create any type of problems. Oh, these are, oh, yeah, the food is, oh, yeah, to kind of like distract from going and sitting down with what you have to sit down. But the more you take out these distractions, that's what we call retreat. You retreat from these distractions, the more is you with yourself. But if you do want and you can and you enjoy this process and you see the value of this process, then it's just amazing. Because that's when transformation really happens, right? Avoiding and running away and just going here and there and creating all of these carnival of things, to avoid dealing with our own minds. Yeah, it's true. So thank you for that. That's very true. Very, very. And it is as you say, sometimes it's just like it's painful. That's okay. No, it's that trust. We say that um, faith. comes from that as well. Faith in the teachings. In Buddhism is not a blind faith of like, oh, because my teacher said. That doesn't work. But it's that constant going through the process of dealing with the pain, that looking inside my cause and realizing that it's not that bad. It's not as kind of like scary. It's not giving me a bad result because I'm not becoming a worse person by seeing my own faults and like and my own difficulties, my own limitations, but actually seeing them allow me to overcome them, go beyond them. That is so beautiful. It is very beautiful. So yes, thank you for that. Very nice. Want to say something?
Yeah. I was gonna say that for me, I was looking at the self-cherishing and also a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think sometimes it becomes so habitual that you don't see the pattern.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, for me, at
Yeah, yeah,
least,
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
That's exactly what it is. Yes.
there's a pattern. So when was the last time that when did that, and then I started thinking when I was meditating, when did I start? When did it start? When
Yes.
did I not do this?
Yes. Very good. That's very good. Understanding that is
I didn't
really.
get there, but
No, it
I
doesn't
do
matter.
it.
It doesn't
You know,
need. Yes, absolutely. Because it's almost like saying to you, kind of like, can you not, because you've been here living for 30 years, right? But you were born in Brazil, but saying to you, don't unlearn Portuguese. It's your, it's just like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Because it has always been there, right? Or say, oh, Margaret, don't think in English, right? And you're gonna be, what do you mean? Because it's just who we are in a way. It becomes like that. It becomes just like who we are. It's just glued. Us and whatever it is, the pattern of the self-cherishing is just there. So that is why I like, I said in the meditation, it's like that's not who we are, right? It's not our essence. And because it's not our essence, it can be changed. That is the beauty of it. That is really the beauty. But that is exactly the path. Looking there, and to observe and say, ah, that's how I work. Ah, that's how I fuck. That is my pattern. That's why it's so easier to see in others, right? Because it's new for us. Because we are not with that person all the time, or it is more kind of like outside. It's easier than inside because the inside is just the way our minds work, and we have no control of it. But others we can observe better, easier, and we can say, oh yeah, this person is like that. And in a way, it's correct, but actually the right way, if we would use like the vocabulary, would say, this person has the tendency to be like this. And even ourselves, when people say to me, "Oh, I cannot change, I am like that." And I always say, not true. You have a pattern, you have a tendency, a habit to be like this. You identified yourself as that, but that's not who you are. So that is good as well, to sometimes just change a little bit the wording. This can help. This is the story I told already, I think, here, that I started because I needed to understand my parents and their relationship and who they were. And I stopped calling them mom and dad. My mom always says, you were 15 and you cut the umbilical cord. You know, I call them for their names. Until nowadays, I call them, Maria and Roberto. I say, Maria, Maria, how are you? I call her like this because of that, because I needed to see them in my own mind. I need to cut that story, that identification, and see, but they are also human beings. They are also a male and female, person. My mom is also a daughter of someone, a sister of someone, and she was so many things before being my mom, right? That helped me a lot. So I'm saying sometimes we changing a little bit, it can help on that way. Just say, oh, look at my pattern. Oh, look at me doing this. Oh, look at me like having this habit here. Then it becomes more joyful, more kind of like playful, and have fun, kind of like make fun of yourself. Don't take yourself too serious. you know, see yourself kind of like doing, and then you like laugh at yourself, say, look at me completely nuts going into this again. Exactly. Look at me again here. And then you laugh and then you say, oh my God, you know, then you continue, but the next time becomes easier to catch, easier to not follow. You follow, but you follow like shorter, you know, then you just go like that, building up. That's the idea of that. Okay. Thank you very, very much. So next Monday we continue, and tomorrow we have the the morning meditations, and we have our class again. So I see you tomorrow. Thank you, Nana. Nana, I didn't ask if you want to say something. Do you want to say something, Nana?
Thank you for asking.
I forgot. I'm so sorry. We were just talking here, and I forgot.
Don't be sorry. I'm sorry, actually. I'm sleeping the most of the classes, so there's not much to say.
Sleeping is okay. Sleeping is good that we all need sleepy. We all need to rest. So that's good. That's very good. So thank you so much, dear. We see you tomorrow.
Not too much, not too much. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you tomorrow
Good
night.
night. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. I'm the one thankful. Bye bye.
Bye.